Are you looking for a unique and exciting adventure for your role-playing games? Well, let me introduce you to Florian's Magical Flashbook from Shieldice Studios. Welcome to Solitary RPG. In this video, we're gonna talk about Shieldice Studios and some of the amazing products that Jay puts out for his game of Loom that he has been working on, and some small little supplements that he's been putting out through his Patreon page. Let's jump into Florian's Magical Flashbook. This is basically a tattoo book, a flashbook for tattoos, but it's also a pretty cool adventure that you can plug into any system that you want to play. You can play it solo or with your group. A while back, Jay over at Shieldice Studios started a Patreon page. One of the things he is doing on his Patreon page is releasing some of his supplements to supporters to download. And he's also creating like little supplements just for people to add to their games. So this is really just a book about tattoos and all the different tattoos that you can get. But these tattoos actually add some powers to your characters in the game. First, the art is awesome. Now, the one that I printed is the print-friendly version. There is another version of the document that has all the colored backgrounds and all that kind of cool stuff, but we're going to take a look at it this way because I needed to save my printer's ink as much as I could. You're going to be introduced to Florian the Magnificence. This is somebody that has the ability to give tattoos that give people powers. Then we're going to get into the actual tattoos, and there's 20 different tattoos that you can choose from, or you can roll randomly, and that's, to me personally, how I think it should be done, because you don't go into the tattoo artist and ask for something specific. The tattoo artist decides what you're going to get and what power you're going to get. So you can make a d20 roll and you can just get one of these random tattoos. Let's take a look at one of these. Let's just start with the Burning Tower. It's first tattoo, so why not take a look at it? Let me read it to you and read what happens. This tattoo grants you the power to see from high height. From where you stand using a burning astral projection, you may send your vision straight up. Then turn your view 360 degrees in the air up to a height of 500 feet. Your eyesight strength stays the same. Your body becomes immovable while the action is performed. If any creature is above you when you perform this action, you receive mild fire damage. So it's really neat. There's a little bit of a rule in here that you need to pay attention to if you have this tattoo. It says your eyesight stays the same as it is. So if your character has bad eyesight, you need to take that into account. So it is something that is added in. It's a little flavor text that actually becomes kind of a rule that you have to have. But you can kind of shoot yourself up if you hit a bird above you. So there's a random chance that when you shoot your eyesight straight up 500 feet, you might hit a bird. So be careful. Again, little rules just in the descriptive information, because you'll take a little bit of mild fire damage. What's mild fire damage? I guess maybe you burn your fingertips a little bit or something like that. I don't know. You can make that up. You can have a lot of fun with it, but then there's a cost. So after you use whatever tattoo you have, you're going to roll on a D4 chart, and there's a cost for that tattoo to your character. So this one on a D4, the area around the tattoo becomes burnt. So you could take your mild burn damage and just tie it into this one, and maybe it gets a little more burnt, a little bit hard, like blistering and stuff like that. You can play around with that. A nearby tower topples. Now this is really cool if you roll that one, because there could be a castle close by. Now you've just created a whole nother adventure seed that has to be resolved, because maybe someone witnesses your power and then sees the tower toppling and blames you for it. Now you become wanted. You become dizzy afterwards. Okay, that's mild, but now you have to take a short rest, or people have to carry you. You have to do something because you're a little dizzy. Maybe you just can't walk straight, something like that. And then on a 4, nothing happens. So that is what these tattoos do. They give you some kind of special ability or power during gameplay, but there's a cost to it. I like it. It's just not all positive. Different things can happen. It's just really neat. And you have 20 of these different tattoos to choose from, and they would look neat on your character sheet. Maybe Jay can turn this into a sticker sheet and people can just sticker them on, or even better, if I don't know how to make fake tattoos. But if these could be turned into like fake tattoos, people could put them on their forearms or during gameplay, and just add a little, that next level of immersion into your game, which I don't know, just neat stuff. I get excited about these types of things because this is completely different from the norm. And I just love what Jay has done here. And we're going to read one more tattoo. Then we're going to move into more about what this whole process is. Like, how do you get the tattoo? Because this is all basically one. You could make a short campaign just based on this supplement. And it's only a short supplement of a few pages. The Blade Heart. This occult tattoo gives you the power to turn any blade into a flaming one, but it must have formerly been held by someone you love. The flaming blade lasts the length of a single battle or duel, and it is unbreakable, sparking burning embers like dragon's breath. After the fight is finished, the blade melts into pooling molten metal. This design can be found on the robes of the fire cultist on the astral plane of the ever flame. You have kind of a cool little story arc in here already. Like, there's a cult that worships this blade, and it's just really neat. The blade has a negative already built into the narrative or the description of the blade. That it melts, and it also has to come from a loved one. And then you have your D4 cost after you've activated it. After the fight, your heart is pained and heavy because this blade was from a loved one. The fight is over. Your blade just melted into something. So basically, the memento of your loved one is gone, but it saved your life, I guess you could say. The hilts of nearby blades are flaming for a moment. So all your companions, if they're with you, all their hilts kind of flame up for a moment. That's just neat, especially if they're still holding their blade. It flames up, and then maybe they drop their blade. The fissure of the flaming portal rends the sky. Doesn't mean a whole lot direct, but it does mean that maybe if this is an outside adventure, or even if you're in a dungeon, maybe it becomes a rumor, or maybe it irritates the cults. Like, the cult finds out, now the cult's chasing you. Gives you something else to play with, and then nothing else. Nothing occurs. Here's what I like about this. You have this short little paragraph, but there's so much you can pull out of just these few words that Jay has written down to really create a cool adventure and have some fun with it. And this is not linked to anything, any game system or anything. You can just plug this into any system you want to play. All it is adventure seeds to give yourself or your GM something to work with. But how do you get a tattoo? Florian is in a inactive volcano at the edge of the world. Where's that world at? You make it up. Put it in your world. And you have to travel there, and you basically have to complete a quest, and then you can be granted permission to get a tattoo. This page here, this talks about the tattoo that is on Florian's back. So this is a way of just, identifying who he is as a person, so you're not being tricked or fooled or anything like that. And there's a story about this. These are the guards that protect the entrance to the volcano. And once you've traveled to the edge of the world, so you have an overland adventure getting to the edge of the world, and you make it up to the entrance, you roll on this chart. That is the task you have to complete for the guard to be granted entrance into the volcano to meet Florian to get your tattoo. These are just really neat. They're going to take some time to complete. These aren't like you know, just walk down to the edge of the mountain and pick up a rock and come back. Like, these are really hard quests to beat, but then again, the tattoos are really cool special abilities that will add to a campaign or to a character development, because any of these abilities can be used in any of your game sessions. So let's read a couple of these. Slay a colorful scaled beast and bring back a vial of its blood or ink. Colorfully scaled beast. Doesn't say dragon, doesn't say specifically what this beast is. It just says colorfully scaled beast. So you got some room to mess around with. Bring back a vial of its blood or ink. So blood is obvious. That's pretty simple for most of us to understand. But ink, you know, that could open it up a little bit to maybe an ocean adventure. I'm thinking octopus with their ink defense or something like that. Ink can be a lot of different things. Ink could be something that comes from, maybe it's a large insect. That's one of the things I really feel would be kind of cool to work on, is insect encounters. Like get away from the monsters. We got enough monster books out there, but like cool insects. There is a prehistoric period where insects were much larger than they are today. A mosquito was 3 foot long and could kill you. That could be something, or dragonfly or something like that. So you could really pull from just our current insect world, just make the insect larger, but still magnificent and beautiful. I love dragonflies. And that could be your colorfully scaled, and maybe that's where certain colors ink comes from. So a lot to work on just with the few words that Jay wrote down, and I just love it. Retrieve a relic of great power, one that was once used by the goddess of art. Now, who is the goddess of art? Don't know. There's no lore for that, so you can make that up. Maybe that was the person, maybe Florian had a instructor that taught him how to do tattoos, and maybe you've got to, that relic of great power could be the needle that his mentor used, could do that. Could be anything. Add that into your story, whichever narrative you got running, you can make that work. Delve into a dungeon on the arcane plane of colors. And you're picking up maybe a little bit of a theme that all these are kind of related to some sort of a tattoo or artist vibe for them. So arcane plane, what is that? Don't know. Make it up. Have some fun with it, but you got a dungeon dive. Go into a dungeon. So that's really easy for any of us to complete. Making up a dungeon, pull a dungeon. You can go get Keep on the Borderlands and just get the Dungeon of Chaos, and you can just use that dungeon. And you just got to dive into that dungeon and figure out if this is the dungeon of arcane colors. You know, it's this cool stuff. Steal the spider's god threading needle. Who's the spider gods? You know, obviously a threading needle. Like it probably wants to use it for a tattooing needle. Destroy the tower of color drainer. All right, now we have I guess you could say an anti-art person, anti-tattoo. I don't know, someone that steals color from life, likes the world gray and dark and miserable. You gotta go destroy the tower. And that's, you know, go get your burning tower, get next to there, throw your eyesight up, boom, bring it down, roll terribly, and the tower crumbles. Sail across the sea of black ink. You know, black sea, black ink. Now you're doing an ocean adventure, which a lot of people in these supplements, we don't really do a lot of ocean adventuring. It's a little different. But yeah, now you've got something that's going to kind of push you outside your normal comfort zone of overland adventure, put you in the water. You got to sail across the sea. How you're going to sail across the sea, that's up to you. So neat stuff. This one's probably the most challenging, but could be a lot of fun, kind of like a little bit of a mystery. Find Florian's first customer. How cool is that? Because first you don't get to meet them in the volcano. You're meeting a guard, and they're going to send you on the way. They're not going to tell you who the first customer was. So you need to just start investigating, trying to track down all the tattoos, and this is where you could create some kind of lineage of all the different customers that have come across paths with him and have been granted tattoo, because obviously they're going to have really special powers. So you're going to be going into libraries and doing research. You're going to have to really know about these tattoos and find out about how far they go back and when the first one was found, who trained him. Obviously, he has a reputation. So a lot of investigation stuff, and could just take you a very long time to figure that one out, but that's what it's all about, is creating an adventure. Then on the back, you have tattoo placement, and this is a D20 roll. Let the dice gods decide where your tattoo is going to be placed. Of course, if you want, you can place it in a very certain place, especially if the tattoo might have some sort of an ability that you want it to be visible, or you may want to hide it, because in my mind, the way I think about it is, if you have one of Florian's tattoos, you don't want people knowing about it. You're going to be kind of a special person, and maybe once you've gotten the tattoo, now this has created another side of the adventure. You can add into the story arc real simply. If someone cuts off your tattoo, they can stitch it to their skin and get your power. If you wanted to do such a thing, you could. Like, you could really have some fun. Once you have the tattoo, you kind of become, I don't want to say wanted, but desired. People desire to get your powers. Now, this is available. I got this because I support them on Patreon, and that is the only way it's available. However, reach out to them and ask them. Maybe if there's enough people that kind of reach out to him, maybe he'll decide to give this a little bit more attention and put it out on a drive-through RPG as a PDF download. I just think it's really cool. It's a great adventure. Jay, keep up the great work. I think you're doing amazing stuff. Now let's take a look at another one of his products that he put out on Patreon. This is Noble Houses. Another easy, simple supplement for you to create a noble house. One of the challenges for playing any of these games that we play is sometimes trying to create something big like a kingdom or a house. But it's all just charts you're going to start rolling on. You have a family crest that you can design, that you can roll on. Then you have a family emblem that you would put on top of the background design. So whatever you roll, you can just let the dice decide, or you can just pick this stuff. These can just be spark words and images that you can use. And I just like it. And it just kind of goes through this process. The family trade, the family members, the secrets, the neat, all of this stuff follows his world building pocket notebooks that he created. This is stuff you can pop right in there and continue working on those. You got their specialties and their mottos, but here you got a family tree, so you can really create a family tree, which would just be awesome. So that way you kind of have that background, and you can start pulling from those backgrounds, and you can, you don't need to fill out the whole family tree. You're at a certain point in your adventure. This could be, you could create a noble house that just becomes part of your background stories in your worlds when you play, that you can just pull from at any time. And maybe you just start with the lineage, and then as you continue using that same noble house, which is one of the things I do with like cities and certain characters, they just continuously appear in my game system. A noble house is the same thing. And then you can grow it as time goes on. So it's just really cool. So don't feel like you need to fill it all out as you sit down and play. Just keep in mind that you can fill it out later as you continue using it. Then you got this last page. These are a bunch of yes/no questions that you want to answer to kind of create some of the narrative about your noble house. Like, does the lord of this family collect taxes? Does this family collect rent from tenants? Like, just kind of creating a little bit of like a mood, a vibe, like just how the kingdom works. Like, are they dictators, or are they good kings? And then here we have these little art pieces, which I think are fantastic. You just have these 4 little kind of like visual kingdoms. This one's off a shore. This one seems like more condensed. Like maybe you have a kingdom with a village and towers. I don't know. It's just got more to it. This one gives me the vibe of being kind of like maybe up in the mountain area. And this one's kind of like a smaller woodsy area. So it just gives you a little bit of a vibe to add a little bit more detail to your noble house. And then we get into here about the knights, and then you have an adventure prompt table. So If you wanted to, you could use this as an adventure seed to kind of create a noble house and some stuff, background to it, and then have your adventurers go into this house, and maybe they get a quest. Maybe, obviously there's a problem in the kingdom, and you're an adventurer to come solve it. So neat stuff. Again, just another little short supplement. I'm actually my notebook of Shieldice Studio supplements is growing because Jay does a lot of cool stuff. And these are just short, little fun things to add to your adventures, and I love it. And then we're going to talk about Loom a little bit. Jay has created this awesome game system called Loom that I have shared on the channel. He's also created a lore book for the lands of Loom, which is just chock full of great information. Well, he's released the second Loom adventure, The Bells of Basslin City, and it's all based on the same concepts that Loom is based on. So you just kind of read a paragraph and you're going to roll on charts and add the words. So each time you play it, it's going to change just slightly, because you're never going to roll, well, I don't want to say never. Chances of you rolling the exact same numbers is going to be hard, but it could happen. Dice are evil. So anyways, it's based on the same thing, but this puts Loom into a city, which is just really cool. And this was all on Kickstarter, and this is just one more of the rewards. I'm waiting for this to come into a print form. I haven't heard from Jay if he's done it. This is a whole separate adventure for Loom, which is just awesome, taking it into the city. But then Jay has created new supplement material for the original version of Loom, with just some new tools that we can add to the game to just make it stay alive. The narthex is a different way of changing. So in Loom, you end up at the tower, and this changes the ending of the game a little bit. The next thing he's added is a chart. So if your character dies, you've got a d6 roll and your character can come back to life. But there might be some challenges for your character coming back to life. So it's just really cool stuff. He's added the spirit guard, which is just another way of playing the game. They kind of help guide you through it, and they have their own command list, so it kind of changes some of the command lists. And then you have these pages for kind of like your journal to kind of describe your character and add some more information, giving you a chance to be a creative writer and create some cool stuff for your character. So that was the stuff he's created in addition for Loom. I just really like everything that Jay creates, but this one here, Florian's Magical Flashbook, I just think is something that a lot of people should try to get their hands on. Reach out to Jay over at Shieldice Studios. Join his Patreon if you can afford it. It's $5 a month, but you're getting some really cool stuff, and I just really think this is a wonderful supplement. And then he's also he puts out a lot of other great stuff. He puts out a lot of world building content and things like that, which is just awesome. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.